Welcome to Ignite Interviews. I'm Cindy Donahue, and I'm very excited to welcome Jordan Tampien. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Cindy.
I would normally say like of this company or that company, but you have so many business ventures that I just thought we would just talk about them all.
Yeah, it's more of a tongue twister when you go do all those. So yeah.
It would be a long list. So what are all the current business ventures?
Man, okay. I even have to remember this sometimes. So we have 4 Degrees Real Estate. We do management on that side. We have Brick West Brewing, Barnwood Social Restaurant, Checkerboard, another restaurant, North Bark Athletic Club out north. And then I always forget one, Backyard. It was one of our first ones, so that one's still existing over by Kendall Yards. And then we have recently moved into the Boise market where we have another 5 businesses opening. So kind of anywhere and everywhere, right?
So you're not busy at all?
No. Have really good teams, really good teams.
So what about your business philosophy makes all that possible? Like, what is your why?
Yeah, the why is positive impacts. What makes it possible is getting out of your own way. So in my work, I look less for the business and more for the operator or the person. So I found partner with Matt Goodwin on all the restaurant stuff. Well, he's the best in the business. So guess what naturally happens with the businesses, right? My brother Joel runs that side. And so all we're constantly looking for is talent. And then how do we utilize that to take advantage of that and create businesses? And so far we've been pretty successful with that formula.
So you're really just investing in people. I mean, you're looking for people that have that something about them that you can trust in, that you can partner with.
Yeah, exactly. And then go create something special. Like that's what Spokane's allowed us to do, is allowed us this culture of I grew up in a small town. So for me, it's like the small town connections, but with big city dreams. So you can actually take that little idea and percolate and turn it into something that now, if you go to the west end of town, we used to speed through that area, and now we had live music on Saturday with 600 people there, right?
Wow, 600 people?
Yeah, and so it's that vision of you kind of saw it, and then you put it in action. Well, I can't do that myself. Otherwise, I'd still be back working on my one restaurant flipping burgers in the back, and still nobody would eat them. So
that's amazing. And where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Moses Lake, Washington, just down the track, right in the borderline between Husky Country and Cougar Country. So we were able to pick which ones. I chose Cougs. So. And
did you move here because you came to school here?
Yeah. So undergrad at Whitworth, stuck around after that. Got married, stuck around, went to law school at Gonzaga, and have been here ever since. I don't know if it's just that it has trees, so I have a pretty low standard for what acceptable is, or if it's something in the water. We're not sure yet, but still here and still loving it. So
the trees for me, so I go home to LA sometimes and it's just concrete and people everywhere. And then I come back here and it's like you can breathe again.
You can breathe. I love it. Yeah, so we fell in love with it and probably don't see it going anywhere for a while. So.
And you have one daughter.
I do have an amazing little Lola Monroe and my wife Whitney, and so we got a little clan, little 3 amigos going around and drumming up trouble wherever we can. So,
well, and you do a lot. I see you everywhere. And then Joel moved here as well.
Yeah, so one of 7. So okay. Stark contrast. I have one kid. I grew up with one of 7. My entire family lives here.
So they
spouses,
all moved...
significant others. I don't know if it's just attracting. Actually, half of them work for me, kind of as agents or as in some form or another around the real estate game. And so we've been really fortunate. I think. A lot of times you take that part for granted. I know I have before, but it's special. It's special, right? When you get to now share this with the people closest to you and some of the successes we've seen and some of the impacts we've created. So.
And do you have, for your various ventures, do you have like a culture philosophy or, some sort of idea that you subscribe to when it comes to culture?
Yeah, I was thinking about that kind of on the drive over, and I think it comes down to crazy collaboration and consistent innovation. And that's really what we do and try to challenge each business every day of like, hey, all right, take for example, first business, 4 Degrees. Coming to town, it's like, okay, look across the spectrum, right? You work with tech startups. They're constantly looking for originality in that. So what would you start? A management brokerage where there's like 80 of them, 100 of them. And so on ours, it's not necessarily that the field's saturated. Is it can we make a difference within that field that allows us to move the bar? Like my hope with Brick West was when anybody from out of town came in and said, we want to start a brewery. If they're doing their SWOT analysis right, we have to be one of the ones you stop at. And my hope is that becomes the minimum standard. So now breweries across Spokane have to level up to that point. And if I could be just a small part of that leveling up, like why not?
And that's the positive impact you're talking
Correct.
about. It's just
Correct.
No matter what the industry, just having a positive impact.
Correct. And then now you go to big cities and nothing's less than a 5-star. So my goal for Spokane is, which has an amazing food scene actually already, but is that nothing's less than a 5-star. Everybody who starts here, and then a culture supports that. Not this competitive because you came in, we can't have anyone else. But maybe if we all come in, we could create something special.
Well, I mean, we have a cork district, right?
Love it.
And so we have these kind of districts. We're known for now. I mean, we have one of the hottest housing markets in the U.S.
Yep.
And one of the things I like, you were saying, it's a community. You know, it's you grew up in a smaller town. This is like the big city. But if you called someone and you wanted, you know, had a question, wanted mentorship, they'll call you back. It's
100%.
It still has that small town feel, even though people are moving in.
Correct. And there's this willingness to kind of continue that community and create these niches and these opportunities, these neighborhoods, and kind of all seeing Spokane move in the same direction. So
it's hard to find a house these days.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
We're welcoming a lot of new people to our community.
Yeah.
And so what's going on with Brick West? So it's reopened. It's happening.
It's happening. It's one of those. It never really stopped happening. All it was pivots, right?
Right.
COVID hits. And then the hard part about COVID was it was every week something new happened. Hey, you can have outdoor events. So we go set up everything for an outdoor event. And then the day before the event, well, we can't have outdoor events. And then you're shutting it all down. I felt like that one, combined with the restaurants, were probably the hardest ones to navigate and then staffing. Hey, we're open, so we need 10 of you. Oh, we're not now. And so we tried to maintain keeping as much staff on as possible through the whole thing. A, for them, but then B, for kind of that ability to consistently serve instead of, I mean, COVID sometimes, like, are they open? Maybe. And so you go down there, and I thought that was one piece we could help with, was maintain some regularity in a very irregular environment.
Yeah, that was a lot of whiplash.
A lot of whiplash. And I think people were just tired of the whiplash, and it's like, oh, let's just stay home then. And so we were able to move into canning, which was supposed to be a year 7 type thing. And now we're in stores, we're in taps all over.
The Brick West brand is now you can pick up a 6-pack.
Exactly. And I think what's fun, I'm in it all the time, but I feel like we're just getting going. I mean, like, as a population, as far as if you went around and said, hey, do you know what Brick West is? Like 10% of people. And so that's what's fun and motivates me, is like, how do we get it out to more people? How do we support more things? Which was our original goal before COVID kind of stopped us short. So
it's crazy. And then you have other ventures and other basically giving back. So you have the Lumen School.
We do. Yeah. So we were able to partner on a real estate transaction here downtown, take a building that had been vacant for a little while, at least the top 2 floors, and bring in the most amazing charter school. So they assist single parents essentially with childcare resources and the ability to graduate high school. So they're an official charter school. They opened up downtown in the middle of COVID and still have their first graduating classes coming up here. And I mean, talk about marrying all the things. It's like my fun of real estate and the downtown, which I believe is the soul of our community, with a cause that's near and dear to our heart. And so it became one of those fun, how do I do this 1,000 time type things.
Another positive impact venture. Yeah. I mean, really, that's what you had. And so what's coming up? I know you always have ideas and things going on in the Spokane market. So
yeah. In Spokane, I mean, I think we're looking at a couple more restaurants that we already had slated. So they begin construction. We're looking at, unfortunately, some apartment developments, good and bad, right? And then downtown and kind of in those surrounding areas, we're looking for kind of a mid-rise type development that we're in due diligence on. So I think that real estate / restaurant play has been kind of our bread and butter. I always told my wife, though, that when those were the only ideas I came up with, we got to go on vacation. Because that's like my default ones. We come back, we know it, we understand it, we know the market for it. But it'd be fun. We started looking at a couple other different tech / software applications for some of the stuff we do. And so the idea of this kind of once we get settled in is how do we find more of those opportunities?
Well, Ignite can help you with those.
I know, that's what you keep telling me. And that's where the next one is. I think we've been already looking into some of those, but I think for Spokane, it's just that same thing. A lot of our attention has been downtown, so we're looking at more of the neighborhood plays. Some of the Garland, Shadle, spots in the valley, a few of those as we move forward. So,
well, we're growing so exponentially. There's so much opportunity, and you always seem to capture it. Do you have like a leadership philosophy, a book that you read that you work with so many people. I don't know if you have like one leadership philosophy.
So it's one of those, I think when you take away everything, take away beer, sales, all that fun stuff, I think I just like to learn. And so for me, school became that. It was like, hey, I don't even know if I'm going to be a lawyer, but like understanding this, I know can help. And so you have your basics, like your Good to Great by Jim Collins, pretty much anything Jim Collins. We do kind of subscribe to EntreLeadership and some of the stuff Dave Ramsey puts out on leadership specifically, less on the financial side. There's
Right.
a few disagreements I have, but and so I think that's one where we're constantly trying to innovate from that standpoint. I mean, so I'm 36, my brother's 35. We started these at 31 and 30. I mean, sometimes we would just stare at the ceiling like, what are we doing? There's a group of like 60 people out there that need direction. And so I think it was one of those trial by fire ones where it's just like, you have no choice but to learn it, but to understand it, and to do it at such a high level that people believe in it. And again, get back to that positive impact side. So I by no means do we have a grasp on it and what exactly, but I think we've been able to knife through it. And I think COVID was a great test of that situation. And so, no, I think culture has been our big ones. There's a few great books out on that we've kind of just adopted, whether it's from collaboration, collision design, the book about the founder of Zappos, where he designed spaces where you had to naturally collide with people and create conversation. So our office was designed with that in mind, from the golf simulator to training to small breakout areas, kind of like the tech world's been adopting this whole time. So
yeah, so being in it, right? So if you're in it, and then you learn to adapt and learn to encourage each other and be part of it. So I'm so glad that you're in the Spokane community, because we all get to benefit from all of this positive impact you're making. What would you say to someone that lives outside of our community that's thinking about moving their business here, their company here? Why is it a good place to own businesses?
Yeah, first is we have a long way to go. So my only other experience was going to the Boise market, and I went into that thinking, oh man, there's such a hot market. There's already businesses. This thing's already there. Like, we're just catching the tail, and you get in it and you're like, oh my God, we can add value here. So my number one is like, there's still opportunity. And with the massive growth we're experiencing, I see that opportunity continuing well into the future. Then you go to the basic ones, right? Cost of living, lakes are close by, quality of life. And the difference when we say it here, we actually mean it. It's not just compared from LA to San Diego and one has a better quality of life, right? It's that piece. And then I think it's the community element. I think people underestimate that because you don't know how to quantify it. But you go out to a restaurant and it's not unheard of to join another table and, hey, where are you from? And I don't think that's normal for people outside coming in. And so I think there's that opportunity. And then we have a great city, government, from private, public, all the pieces that are all pushing it in a very positive direction. So like I said, I don't know if I am a part, maybe a small, tiny part, but I think there's so many people at the table doing it now. It's fun to watch, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it is a friendly community, right? Spokane nice in a way, but that sense of a generous community. Correct. To me, I feel like we all band together, and you meet someone, they really want to know about you, right, and they support your businesses and your companies. And
it might be people coming from those other markets didn't like what they had. And hey, if we're going to go do this, why don't we do a little different than we saw? And I think fortunately Spokane was already doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see a little bit of a change of a guard, some new ideas come in, and some pieces where, I don't know, like I said, it's like a new fun project pops up all the time. And all I'm thinking is, how did I not know about it? And then how did I get it next time?
Idea?
Exactly. Right. And then supporting it once it hits. And I think that's what's been fun, is even if it's not your idea, it still benefits the whole.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I love that you love this community, and I can't wait to see all the innovative new things you're going to come up with in the future, you and your team.
No, we're excited. We're so excited. I think little things like this are the best parts. Yep. You get to share it in such a great way for people to see it. So
good. Well, thanks for coming on Ignite Interviews.
No problem.
Always good to see you.
Always.
Thank you.